Hey, it's Two-Siders. Today I will show you how you can reach 5 stars in pretty much any sandbox or challenge map in Jurassic World Evolution 2. We are going to be playing with money turned on, and I will build a Sandbox Park to demonstrate. So I'm setting standard mode, and there would be little to no point in me making this video with unlimited amounts of cash. So we are going with medium. The first challenge in the game on the road to 5 stars is surviving the early game. I recommend you to play with medium amounts of cash because a low starting amount of cash is so poorly optimized. You would need to always buy Struthiomimuses, and even then, depending on how bad you get the storms, you might not survive the early game. But with medium amounts of $9 million of cash, you can pretty much create whichever first dinosaur you prefer. First, you need to construct your infrastructure buildings and connect them to the arrival point with a path, and from the point of buying any backup generators or hiring scientists, we will start to bleed money very quickly. First, we will buy a backup generator and then pause the game. We will need to open our park as soon as possible after this point, which means having dinosaurs being visible in front of a viewing gallery. Scientist salaries is one of the biggest upkeep costs in the game, so we want to hire cheap scientists, at least in the early game. We need to make sure we have 5 logistics skills across 3 scientists, because we are also bleeding money through our backup generator. And we need to research the small power station as soon as possible. I have literally never seen 30,000 cost per minute on a scientist at the very beginning of the game so far. This is really bad. This girl is really good. She does cost a medium amounts of money, but these are amazing skills. She has 5 logistics by herself. So just with her we can start researching the power station. Let's build our first power station. We can turn off the backup generator at this point. This next part will sound really boring to you, but I want you to listen carefully because we are going to learn about the strategy behind picking your dinosaurs and why. From your starter dinosaurs, I recommend starting with the cheapest one, which is the Struthiomimus, because larger dinosaurs are more difficult to deal with on multiple levels. They are a bigger investment to begin with, and if you run out of money in the last second, it's pretty much game over before you can open your park. If you do run out of money and go into bankruptcy, you will need to cheat yourself money through toggling the sandbox money settings or just start over. Larger dinosaurs might also require 8 genetics skills or 8 welfare skills across 3 scientists to create, and just because their appeal rating is higher, if you were to divide that with their synthesis, incubation and expedition costs, their appeal might even be lower per dollar than the Struthiomimus. Creating many smaller dinosaurs instead of fewer big ones also satisfies the research requirement for certain small dinosaur species. I recommend you to buy a couple Struthiomimuses, then another herbivore in the same exhibit, but for demonstration purposes, I will start with the Apatosaurus, which is the most difficult dinosaur to start with for the aforementioned reasons, besides the intelligent trait carnivores. if you have that option turned on. For the Apatosaurus, we need not 8 genetics and welfare skills on our scientists, but we also need to research unlock the dinosaur. We also just got a tornado like right in the middle of our park. We need to create a response facility just so we can repair everything. Oh, and by the way, I forgot that I bought the wrong response facility, so now we only have 1 Jeep instead of the 2 Jeeps, because the developers forgot to add the second Jeep to some of the themed response facilities. By the way, the Expedition Center improved yield does nothing on these early fossil sites. So we got the fossils and we extracted them for at least 50% DNA. I lied, and you need 7 genetic skills and 7 welfare, not 8 and 8. We basically need to hire this expensive girl because she's the only one with free welfare, because of my scientist's weak welfare, and we didn't get any welfare specialists. Otherwise, we just lose the game essentially. We have created a medium-sized enclosure so we can cover the entire thing with just one viewing gallery. For demonstration purposes, I've created a larger exhibit. In this game, your park star rating decreases if animals are not visible at all times through these viewing buildings, and the dinosaur visibility area is this light blue area that you see. Unfortunately, the way the game works, and this is the most important rule for reaching 5 stars in this entire video, the least amount of paths you have in the game, and the closer your guest buildings are to these dinosaur viewing stations, the more money you will make, and therefore your park will have a higher park star rating. Now, of course, after a while, even with a subpar park, you can reach 5 stars, but I will tell you how to maximize your profits, and you can work from there. What I'm doing right now is not optimal at all. You need to really understand that your park star rating is exactly your income per minute. So this is one reason why, for instance, in challenge maps, you can cheese the challenge, and at 4 stars, you can just fire all of your scientists, and your park fame instantly jumps to 5 stars, and then you can finish the challenge. Going back to our Apatosaurus, we need to construct a big enough enclosure so our dinosaur can have all their environmental needs met, but not too large of an exhibit for 2 very important reasons. There is a bug in the game where sometimes the enclosure is so large, your dinosaurs will not explore the entire thing, which means they might not discover all the environmental stuff like the forest they need or the sand they need. And at that point, they will either get sick or try to break out of their exhibits. The other reason is also kind of stupid. This small decision to have a large enclosure with multiple viewing galleries far apart completely broke our park, and we will probably lose because of this. If we create an exhibit too large and we are forced to create these multiple viewing stations far apart of each other, our guest amenity percentages, restroom and shelter percentages, will suffer because of this. And even if we place multiple of these at every viewing gallery, we will essentially make much less money because of this. With each dinosaur enclosure, the most optimal build is to have one viewing station, or whatever, multiple viewing stations in the same vicinity, and then creating a sort of guest hub next to the viewing station. A guest hub with food amenity, drink, gift shop, and then when we can open the park, restroom, shelter, and some other stuff I will talk about. And then from 2 stars of park fame, you want to connect these guest hubs together with transport such as monorail or jeeps or whatever. Let's release our dinosaur. Our Apatosaurus still needs a bit of forest, so I will extend the exhibit, but on the side so the viewing gallery can still see it, and not at the back where it cannot see it that much. Actually, I can probably extend it just a little bit. Yeah, this is fine. I accidentally created 2 food amenities. You can just change that in configure. Click up here, other, and then change it to the other one. Now, to maximize profits with the amenity buildings, it's not always true that you have to always reach over the red line with the type of guests that you have. Because each guest module costs a lot of upkeep too, sometimes it's more profitable to go under the red line somewhat, especially at the very beginning with the very few modules we have unlocked. Always check this profit is bluer after applying, but very short, one sentence about your guest types is that 90% of the time, and especially at the very beginning, you will have white, generic, and green nature guests. But that is all I wish to talk about guest types in this video. At the very beginning, the drink amenity is kind of effed up because there's no green and white at the same one. The developers kind of just forgot about it. So the drink amenity maximum profit at the very beginning will always be worse than the food and the gift. We can also now buy restrooms and emergency shelters. You can see at the red that we require restrooms on this line somewhere. Also a shelter. This will increase your profits. We can probably just get away with putting this ranger station right here. Never mind. If we go into the control room, we can probably check that guest appeal. 100% food, drink, shopping coverage. Transport rating at this point 100%, restroom and shelter 100%, but our accommodation rating is low. Before I talk about hotels and accommodation ratings, there is also path coverage. you will need to buy wider paths between your viewing station and your guest amenities, because as you can imagine, a lot of people are going to get to these places and they are overcrowded if the paths are too small. So you need to buy larger paths by unlocking them, but you can also cheat by buying multiple smaller roads. If later on you can replace the paths as well with the larger ones, but if you cannot replace these paths with wider ones because you built buildings too close, it's one of the most annoying things in the entire game. So besides amenity coverages, restroom, shelter, transport and path coverage, you will also need hotels for accommodation. You can pretty much place these anywhere you want in the park. This will also maximize your profits. Just because there's electricity here, I just place one here. By the end of the 5 stars, you will probably need around 2 large hotels in your park for 100% accommodation coverage. And because of that small hotel, our accommodation rating went up to 100% from just 12%. So I maximized our profits at the Apatosaurus guest hub with having the viewing gallery really close to the amenities. Our income is 150k per minute, but our upkeep is really high because of the really expensive scientists mostly. Our next dinosaur is going to be a carnivore. Let's talk about carnivores. The most important resource in this game is actually space. Yes, you can run out of money, especially at the very beginning, but pretty much at this point, we are making more money than we can realistically spend. Well, for a while at least. If you start building around your park and you use up too much space, you will just start losing your sanity. How many dinosaurs do you need to reach 5 stars? Well, that depends on these following factors. In most circumstances, the default setting appeal difficulty normal. It means you have a 10 species target. As long as you have less than 10 dinosaur species visible in your park, you will suffer a penalty. If you have an extremely optimized park and high appeal species, you might be able to get away with having less than 10 dinosaurs to reach 5 stars. Obviously, if you buy stuff like Struthiomimuses, you're probably gonna need more species, or having to buy like more than 10 Struthiomimuses instead of just one Apatosaurus. But anyways, the reason why I'm telling you this is if you run out of space, it's really awkward, and carnivores eat space for lunch. Unfortunately, the developers did a very poor job at balancing carnivores compared to herbivores in this game. You can literally put every single herbivore in the same exhibit if it's a large enough exhibit. Except, of course, there are different dislikes. Like, you cannot put other sauropods next to the Apatosaurus, otherwise they are going to fight. But with carnivores, even if you place, for instance, a velociraptor together with an oviraptor, these two carnivores actually actively like each other. But the velociraptors will always just hunt down your oviraptors, which means that you will need to place them in separate exhibits, otherwise you will start to bleed money. There are some carnivores that don't attack each other, like some medium carnivores like each other, but it's a very rare occurrence, which means carnivores need more space, which means they are not really balanced, and they are really annoying to deal with. Not to mention, you can turn on intelligent dinosaurs, and this means that carnivores can manifest a trait that will make them actively break out of their enclosures even if their comfort level is at 100%. So even at the very beginning, if you have something like an intelligent Dilophosaurus, and Dilophosaurus has a security rating... Shut up. Dilophosaurus has a security rating of 5 for some reason. To unlock level 5 fences, you literally need to increase your park rating to 2.5 stars. So if you have intelligent dinosaurs or carnivores turned on, you literally cannot start with intelligent carnivores because you need 2.5 star rating for the fences. But anyways, just for demonstration purposes, we will buy a couple of Dilophosauruses. I don't have intelligent dinosaurs turned on, so they will be probably fine. You can place the security rating in this game is kind of a joke. You don't need it outside of intelligent dinosaurs. You just need to make sure that your dinosaurs' comfort levels are at above 80% or whatever. Kind of funny, but we just about didn't reach the electricity. I designed the enclosure right next to the Apatosaurus one, so we can get away with not having to create another guest hub. You know what, instead of the Dilophosaurus, we'll go for the more expensive Deinonychus raptors. But before that, we'll get a stop center and a paleo whatever center in case our Apatosaurus gets sick. If you want probably the strongest start to your park, last night I had started with medium amounts of money again, exact same thing here, but I created 3 Ceratosauruses, and luckily none of them were intelligent, because otherwise they would have broken out. 3 Ceratosauruses in an exhibit like this, instantly 2.1 or 2.2 stars. It was insane. So the staff center is another important piece, because otherwise your scientists cannot rest. It doesn't really matter too much if you're disgruntled scientists you put to work, but they will work slower and there's a chance of sabotage. It doesn't really matter, but I still like to rest them anyways. Make sure you always have like $1 million in reserves, because these storms can wreck your amenity and obviously anything that breaks like coverage and profits. For a while your guests will not use these amenity buildings. You can deactivate them for that time so they don't lose you more profits, but here we are fine. Back to 4K. Let's get the Deinonychus. Look, this one costs 480,000. This one is 380,000. I just go for about 50% coverage for now, and that's fine. Literally the most broken gene, the long-lived gene, is enabled from the very beginning of the game, so use it. Now the reason why you need higher DNA percentages is because this way you can apply more genes. But what I like to play with personally, and it kind of breaks it, I like to turn on infinite traits. So you can add like, you research traits and they're really useless, honestly, because you can only have 3 positive traits on your dinosaur, but you can also turn that to infinite traits. And I just like to put all the traits on one dinosaurs once I unlock them, because honestly by themselves, the way you have to sacrifice the long-lived trait for humble and social and tolerant, and then gamble if you get an alpha that way, is just really boring and annoying. But and you still need like a bunch of scientist genetic skills and a lot of money to apply like all the traits once you research them. But anyways, here we're gonna do the default thing. Just gonna apply this. Colors are still not in the game to check what even colors you put on your dinosaur, so you have to check Steam guides for that too. Wow, we actually got 6 out of 6. I will buy all of this because I'm kind of greedy at this point. I want to see how much park fame we get from this. Very important to get the paleomedical facility at some point. And we don't want to accidentally release them in our Apatosaurus exhibit, so we're just gonna release them here. I really hate how large the hatchery is, because I like the release animations, to be honest. Also gonna buy them food. We'll probably need a bigger exhibit for 6 of them, but we'll see. And of course we only have 1 ranger team, because the devs forgot to put in the second ranger team for the for this response facility style. Oh, I forgot that they need meat and not live prey. They are actually scavengers. Whatever. This space is actually perfectly fine for 6 of them, which is crazy. Our local appeal is 600. That's crazy. And our profits are already going from 4k to 7k. Of course, the drink coverage is bad. Cannot even reach over the red line. At this point, we can research better stuff. Like, by the end of this, we will need to reach, of course, the guest comfort, the large hotel, the monorail, or some kind of transportation. At least wide paths, or as I said, you can cheat with multiple smaller paths next to each other. But more importantly, the medium amenity, we will need 250 guests. I think we will reach that soon. The game just needs to update a little bit with these dinosaurs. I will also release a second and maybe third Apatosaurus. Our transport rating already lowered by 2% just because between these two viewing galleries or amenities, they need to walk this little. Like I said, the security rating of these guys are 5, as you can see on the top right. And if they were intelligent, we have no chance. They would be breaking out like once every 2 minutes anyways. And look, the game updated. We did get the over 250 guests. It just took a couple of minutes on fast forward, and this means that we can research the medium amenities, also some other stuff. So let's do that. At this point, the medium amenities are mainly for the extra modules, so we can reach over the red and make more profits, not because they are medium amenities and these smalls are too small for now. We even gonna get these extra 2 Apatosauruses, which is gonna be great. It's also a really annoying part of the game where you cannot just upgrade these. You have to rebuy them. And then with this, we have much more options. I'm just gonna do the nature. And this big nature, this is what you do like 90% of the time. And I'm pretty sure nothing else. Yeah. It's just gonna be generic and nature, generic nature 3 times. As you can see, these little arrows here, and we almost reached. But this is the maximum profit. It's gonna go even. It's gonna grow even more than 11,000, I think. The game just needs to update. Boba skeleton. Here we go. You can also get the white pops after the dinosaur is done. These ones are green. As you can see, we need a little bit more area. It doesn't really matter. Above 80% is fine, but again, we'll extend it. Not at the back, but on the side, so this viewing gallery can still see them. This is alright. There are certain drop-off points where the guests leave your park. From 11k, we went down to 7k. But look, the helicopter is coming. So we're gonna get new guests. And soon enough, this is gonna jump up back again. We are going to do a really like busted thing, and again place multiple herbivores in the same exhibit. Extend it a little bit, so let's get, I don't know, a Polacanthus or whatever. We can probably place another viewing gallery here, which is still going to be really close to these amenities, which is fine. And in case you're wondering how visibility works with the amenities with the Jeep rides and other rides, you basically need to place the amenity stuff at the entrance of the Jeep ride tour or whatever. We can get like extra upgrades at this point for the buildings. It's probably worth it. And in case you're wondering, the forest, and even if you place like rocks and hills in front of the viewing gallery, it does not obstruct the visibility for some reason. Extraction capacity costs a lot of money, $1 million, but it's always the one I pick. At this point, improved yield is probably worth it. We cannot research it yet, but the most broken two upgrades are improved administration for the control center, because this will reduce your scientist salaries by 10%. And again, if you reduce the scientist salaries by 10%, your park rating will also go up, because your upkeep will be much lower, right? And the other broken one is in the scientist staff center, the improved costs. Every single task from extraction, expedition, whatever that your scientists do creating dinosaurs will cost 10% less. And if you have 3 staff centers, you can apply that 3 times, so everything costs 30% less in terms of tasks, which is insane. With the Polacanthus in the future and the Apatosaurus we can very easily place like hadrosaurs, like the Parasaurolophus as well in the exhibit, which is crazy, so we'll do that. I don't know why I say it's crazy so much. I literally cannot speak. And like I said, it updated, so instead of 11k, look, we just got new guests at this second, and 21,000. We are making 60,000 per minute from just these amenities, not including ticket sales. That's really, I almost said insane again. And keep in mind, your income, your profit is exactly your park fame rating, so we're almost at 2 stars. To keep your sanity in the time you are waiting for stuff, that's normally the time I use to place decorations, but it takes so much time that generally I start building decoration stuff. I don't even have enough time to finish it. I pause the game, so it's just about your enjoyment. Just enjoy the game as much as you can. Play however you feel like. You don't need to maximize everything. I'm just again telling you, so you can work from there. We're also gonna create a couple of Polacanthuses that's gonna improve our, cannot see the skin, improve our appeal rating. Like I've mentioned in a different video, if the minimum population is multiple for a dinosaur, for instance, you can fit 3 Deinonychuses in the exact same exhibit as just one. But after your 4th and 5th and 6th, Deinonychus will need 20% more area, which you can see here. Now, unfortunately, the Polacanthus has a minimum population of 1, which means we can only create 1 in the same size exhibit, and then the second one would need pretty much another exhibit with itself, so we are only going to create 1. Otherwise, we would need to tremendously increase our exhibit size for the second Polacanthus, and I don't want that. We're gonna pick the one that is not needy, because that will need 30% more environmental needs. Docile and long-lived. Great. At this point, we are making so much money that I cannot realistically spend it on pretty much anything. So at this point, you can think about hiring scientists that are not cheap, or they do not have like cost-reducing traits. Rather, at this point, I would hire scientists that decrease task time for research or expedition, just to keep my own sanity, guys. So yeah. Or just hire extra scientists so I can do multiple researches at the same time. You get the deal, or create multiple dinosaurs. But don't forget that if you just keep hiring scientists for no reason, your park fame rating will suffer. At this point, I'm not going to hire anybody, because I just want us to reach 2 stars for demonstration purposes. We got our Polacanthus. And funnily enough, the Polacanthus has really similar environmental needs as the Apatosaurus, so we don't even need to touch this entire exhibit at all. And instantly after the Polacanthus, we can just create this Parasaurolophus. And again, We just had $6 million before that, like $5 million a minute before that, $7 million now. I don't want to hire more scientists, and we just cannot spend all of this. Unfortunately, the video game at this point is just really boring. It's just gonna be about unlocking new dinosaurs and stuff, but we'll play for a little bit and then I turn it off. And everybody is 100% comfortable. Again, herbivores are really overpowered compared to carnivores. We also need to increase our paths, so let's unlock better paths. Let's replace these. And look, not red anymore. Honestly, like, look, we just increased our path wideness and we instantly reached 2 stars with that little push. Still a bit yellow here. Look, more than 2 stars, like 2.2. So at 2 stars, it's important that we research the monorail. Also large hotels later on, but multiple small hotels are also fine. We are making 27,000 on each of these medium amenities, and I'm pretty sure we can also research large amenities soon. And as I said, the game at this point is pretty much already won. You just need to do the same things over and over again until you reach 5 stars. But just to show you, you will create a monorail station next to your first guest hub, and then you can connect it anywhere on the map to another guest hub. Like here, we'd have another enclosure with a guest hub, amenity stuff, shelter, whatever. You don't need paths between these. When it comes to research, like I said, you can get the new dinosaurs that you want. You will research the medicine that you need when you need them. It doesn't really matter. You can research new attractions, but again, you can just use the viewing gallery until 5 stars if you want. Underwater dinosaurs or reptiles have really high appeal ratings, but it's very, very, very expensive to research the lagoons. It's 500,000, that's nothing. Look at the lagoon viewing gallery. It doesn't show, but it's like $2 million. And you need a bunch of scientists for that. So be aware. Again, you will research the large amenities at some point. Bigger hotels, even wider pops if you want. Power, it doesn't really matter. You can just use multiple small power stations. When it comes to infrastructure, important that you will research these staff improvements so you can get more scientists, but also train your scientists' skills, which is generally probably cheaper to have fewer scientists with higher skill than multiple scientists. You can get these upgrades. Some of them are good, some of them are not, and yeah, you will reach 5 stars in no time. Let me show you a 5-star park. Here's a massive 5-star park I've worked really hard on. I recently made a tour video about this park that very few people have watched, which made me really sad. If you want to check it out, I've linked it in the video. But anyways, don't be frightened by the amount of decorations. You don't need any decorations to reach 5 stars. And we pretty much have the same logic in this park as the previous one we've built together. So we have all the infrastructure stuff back here in one area. It doesn't really matter. Dinosaur area with the guest hub. Dinosaur area with a guest hub. Dinosaur area with a guest hub, and one down there too. And all of these guest hubs are connected with transport, either the monorail or the jeep rides. We have exactly 10 dinosaurs in this park. I placed each one of them in a separate exhibit, though like I said, I could have placed all these herbivores in the same exhibit to spare some space, but it doesn't really matter. Again, it's not completely optimized. I don't have 100% coverage with the amenities or even just the hotels or transport, but it doesn't matter. We still reached 5 stars because we have pretty good dinosaurs and decent optimization, if not perfect. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was useful. If it was, like and subscribe for more, and I shall see you tomorrow. This has been Two Siders. Bye bye.